All right, let's see if this works. My phone has like zero space, so I doubt it, but hopefully at least the audio comes through. Can't imagine it's that bad as long as I keep it short, don't know. Don't know exactly how fast caches and streams and uploads or nothing. Never really looked into how that works. Anyway, so I'm about to get legal charges allegedly for digital harassment. Now, as fast as I could cover this, just in case there's a temporary setback. It will only be temporary, I assure you. I don't start fights I can't win, for one thing. I don't talk about things that I have no knowledge on, for another. Anyway, basically, long story short, the woman, this is the third time I've dated her, okay, over years, okay? She comes back every 2 or 3 years and tries again. She's an alcoholic. She's like, "Oh, I'm not an alcoholic anymore. You should believe in me. Let me make all these grand gestures." She, of course, didn't tell me I'd replaced it with sex addiction and Seroquel addiction and heroin. And anyway, this moody person has been, well, I mean, I'm a caretaker, so abusing me, but at the same time, I'm tolerating it. I'm trying for the person. I'm trying to be as considerate and understanding. And there's so many things that I really wish to go into later. So many dynamics between certain fetishes and certain interests that made it so strange to try to, scientists in stupor try to understand what I'm going through while still sucking up the world of pain, while still trying to be a good guy and not harm someone who's clearly unstable. And so I'd made, I guess you could call it a threat. That's what it's being posed at against me. I said, look, this is my public diary. If I'm allowed to use public material, public profiles, public information, and it's a one-party consent state if you decide to call and harass me on the phone. So unless, here's what people don't understand, and I guess everybody thinks they're super empowered now after the recent defamation thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but what people don't understand is you have to, just for the sake of destroying someone, be using their name, not for the sake of defending yourself, not for the sake of saying I got raped. It happens all the time on Facebook, for example. You get to see someone without any evidence whatsoever share like wildfire some guy's real name, real phone number, and real picture, and say, if you see this guy, stay away, he's my rapist. But they're allowed to do that, right? Because it's not just purely for the sake of discriminating against the man so much as it is to defend against themselves. Now, here's the manifesto, warning, what am I looking for? Disclaimer, there we go, that I like to give, okay? This is not defamation. This is a video diary, and it most certainly is. I have autism. I don't necessarily understand. I do sometimes, but I do all right mostly with learned scripts, but I don't understand what's socially acceptable, okay? I don't fit into the same patterns. I don't think the same way. I'm obsessive. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I've got a lot of issues with me. So what I'm doing is not purely to attack the world. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's to understand the world. It's to analyze everything, how we say this and it means that, how we do this and we go there. And so I thought with the School for Evil, I can look through some of the psychology, and it wasn't even going to be just against her. It really, because I wanted to also show what worked and why I was lulled, what worked against me, what rules of power did she use to have me stay? Like, catering to one's fantasies, playing on people's needs to believe. There's a lot of them. And that was the big one. She made a grand gesture. I'm moving. I'm coming out there to you. I'm going to show you this time 3 dating you. I'm going to show you I mean it. Psych. And one by one, every lie and every little promise revealed themselves. Now it's to the point where she's demanding that I don't use her name now after we actually made a deal. We made a deal. We were going to have one last conversation where I hear everything, let me repeat that, everything you have to say from start to end. And you hear everything I have to say from start to end. It's just a conversation between me and you. This was agreed, right? I can seek closure and ask you a couple questions, or just vent even. You don't even have to respond. I can just express myself and feel heard for the first time ever and walk away in peace. And this isn't an or thing, but it is, but it isn't. Or I'm going to have to talk to my audience, my people, my friends, or whatever. And that would mean mentioning the story of life I just went into with this person. That's not defamation, motherfucker. That's fucking stupid. Now, just to give you a little brief explanation on why I know none of this is going to work, but it will start you back. You go to jail at first, when you get charged with something. You don't immediately necessarily go to trial or whatever. It depends how it goes and what the charge is and what other dumb shit. So I also don't know if there's more than what she's just telling me of what she's going to try to do. But the claim is digital harassment. But this is after she called me, right? We didn't get to have the phone call. She lied. It wasn't just me and her. There's a man there. Go figure. All these unstable decisions. I'm leaving out a lot of data so I can be as concise as possible, as fast as possible with this video. So a stranger to me, her new boyfriend, or old boyfriend actually, turns out her exes and stuff, who she obsesses on, which is why she can't be with me. Of course, that's not why, because her answer changed over and over again. No, it's because she told me she almost got in a car accident and I didn't notice that she said that while yelling and screaming at me and telling me that I'm lying when I said my day was fine first thing in the morning. And then repeating that conversation 4 fucking times, and I didn't notice after getting agitated that you swerved in the road. You know, how the fuck do I fucking know? I see your face. It's a video call, but whatever. So, you know, that's the person I'm dealing with. She let a guy talk on the phone with me, right? Just literally take the phone from her. Some powerful woman. All these threats, and people can just snatch phones from you. You know, and the guy gets on the phone and he tells me, he sexually harasses me, folks. He tells me, try not to hang myself while I'm jerking myself off. And I made sure to record it, one party consent, before even dealing with her. I knew better this last phone call, just in case. If it goes well, sweet. I'll even leave her out of the show. I'll consider my emotions healed. I'll find a different way to explore certain paradigms of psychology and try to still make a useful show, right? But instead, we don't do it alone. I get sexually harassed. This is all agreed to. Now I have permission to use all of this stuff as if I even needed the permission. We fast forward. So the claim is I'm digitally harassing, right? Well, let me let you know, folks, public, how harassment actually works, how trespassing and these kind of things work, because people have tried to abuse me with the law before. It's not a smart thing to do when someone else knows the law. Harassment is any unwanted means of confrontation at all. You could poke someone in the shoulder, and that's harassment. Let me get your attention. Okay, nobody asked for that behavior. That's harassment. However, that's physical. You physically fucking touch that person. Verbal harassment is kind of somewhere in the middle, because we have something like freedom of speech, which only applies up to a certain point, I guess. However, a good qualifier for what harassment is much like trespassing. That's why I mentioned both of them. It is harassment after you've been told it's harassment. I don't like that, because it's impossible, much like guessing someone's gender identity, to know ahead of time when they can have a totally different image from what we expect, right? Totally different thought from what we could assume. So, like trespassing, you know, if I, first off, in trespassing, I haven't trespassed for the record. I'm just giving the secondary example. When only the owner has the right to tell you you're trespassing. So that's the first thing you should know, folks, if you're going to keep playing with war or defending yourself against these warmongers. And the first foot of their property is technically city property. So you can even stand in their yard if you want to push it. Now, trespassing only applies when the owner of the establishment tells you you're not welcome. Until you've been given that warning, or they've shown, no matter how tiny, that there is a sign on location at the time of the alleged "I don't want you here." It could be as small as a fingernail on a sign, but if there's no sign, you're not trespassing. You have not been told you're not unwelcome here, etc. Now, harassment works pretty similarly. It's impossible for you to know that, especially after you've been cursed out, you've been sexually harassed, all these different kind of things come your way. It is impossible to know or assume, completely rational, that this person is so sensitive that words can offend them a certain way when they're exhibiting such hostile behavior in the way that they speak and how they hire other people to literally, on the phone, sexual harassment, etc. So now, if I'm not in jail, which again, let me give you some more tips. So, legally speaking, you don't have any obligation to answer the phone to any number you don't know. Legally speaking, whether you know them or not, whether they're police or not, you have no obligation to answer the front door should she actually try to decide to press charges, which would fail, and I'm not worried about it, but just the same, I don't even have to let it go that far. I've been in a situation before where someone abused me and they ended up costing me $1,000+ to a hotel room and all the stuff they destroyed. And I locked him out of the hotel room. He called the police, told them his stuff was inside the whole bit. They knocked on the door. He's texting me from outside. Police are here, bro. Took a picture of the police's badge thingy on his arm, right? And I just ignored them and waited. You gotta come out here, bro. I know you're in there, okay? So, didn't respond, just sat there and waited. I can listen and hear them all talking outside. And you know what they told him? I paid for the hotel room. Unless there is literally a crime here, oh fucking well, you'll have to take that up with him. He don't want to talk to you right now. This is his. And we have no reason to break down the door. There's no threats to yourself or other people. And the hotel staff doesn't necessarily want to cooperate and stirring unnecessary drama for some rando calling the cops and saying I need access to a hotel room that I didn't pay for. Right? Okay? So that's how trespassing and all these kind of things work. If police have a reason, spoken from the words of Barry Cooper, ex-narcotics officer from Texas, if the police have a reason to be in your home, they'll already be in your home. His example was really fresh. He opens the little curtain next to the door, peers out, and says, do you have a warrant? If you have a warrant, go ahead and kick in the door. And if not, call me on my cell phone, and walked away. Similarly, pro tip, if you ever get pulled over with a ticket or something like that, as soon as they give you the piece of paper, you're allowed mid-sentence to drive away and be legally in the right. Point being in sharing this information with you, people are assholes. You harass, you lie, you cheat, you steal, you manipulate, and you think you're smart enough just because you ain't met a person who can defend themselves yet. You know, you think you're going to continue on this behavior. I'm not fucking afraid of you. I was stupid enough to be charmed by you for a short time. But I'm not afraid of you. I'm smarter than you. I was always smarter than you. I wasn't charmed so much that I didn't know that. So, basically, a drug addict. Yeah. A drug addict. Heroin, fucking Seroquel, alcohol. Replaces one addiction after the other. And this wild-ass drug addict wants to try to scare me. I'm pressing digital harassment charges on you. Are you going to include your half of the talk? Okay. Would somebody pissed off respond in a non-pissed off way? I mean, maybe super trained. Somebody upset gonna, you know, not me anyway. So you're fucked. Do whatever the fuck you want, but I'm a little sick of you trying to fucking scare me. I bought your phone, bitch. Stop playing games. I took care of you. I listen to your problems every day, all day long. It's nothing but depression or anger blaming the world. So I could have seen this coming, couldn't I? A woman put a roof over this girl's head, right? She didn't want to be homeless anymore. She finally stopped doing heroin and all these other bad decisions that lead her to the same outcome, the world not working out for her. You know, but she said it was a house because people call their shit a home. That's probably the misunderstanding. Oh, you can come to my home. Oh, but it's not a home. It's actually a trailer. So I'm so entitled and so stuck up and so selfish and such a fucking asshole that my alleged best friend, her words, ain't good enough. And not just that, cats aren't good enough. They stress me out so much, I'm going to have to smash them up against the wall, kick them across the room. Yeah, I know of the instability. I watched. I paid attention. This best friend was such a best friend that the woman built a new habit, taking 5 Seroquel at a time, 100 milligrams apiece. 500 milligrams of Seroquel. That shit can ruin your brain for life. She took 5 Seroquel, and I quote her directly to say, so that I don't have to deal with my best friend, so that I can sleep all day. And being a big woman, she most certainly does kind of stick around all day. Even her job requires her only to sit at home and be on the phone. Now, my goal isn't just to talk shit about somebody, obviously. But look at what I'm about to have to face. You could, if you twist this the wrong way, oh no, defamation. He talked bad about me. No, motherfucker. He told the world the truth about what he's going through with a fucking terrorist for an ex-girlfriend. Don't know what the fuck you thought would happen. This woman, you know, I call myself Lucifer. And I don't know if it's supposed to be a lie or what, but she calls herself Lilith, as if to just fit into the picture. Heard a knock. I guess it wasn't on our house. We can hear things great in this house. But yeah, so anyway, I gave her a choice. Okay? You can talk to me, or I can talk to you, or I can talk to someone else. Okay? That's not defamation, silly girl. She agreed to all of it. Specific terms. She agreed. I have records. Feel free to try to twist shit because we'll go from the very beginning to the very end. And being autistic, I will demand it of the courts. I wasn't going to include everything, but whatever. Come Sunday, even if I've heard of no charges, I will still be doing the show. I will be talking about her. I will drop information in there. It will not be to just attack her. It will be for education, informal purposes, and asking for alternate viewpoints on a situation. It will be generalized just enough to be legally appropriate. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you favors before, during, and after you fuck me over. That's not how it works. I'm going to tell my story. So Sunday, which I guess is tomorrow, which means I'm probably not getting any sleep. At least it's not till 9 p.m. It will be a live show, so if you guys are interested, 757-505-0104. You guys can text into the show or call in, and in real time, because it's a phone, or maybe a little laggy, because, it's a text now number, which I do just to avoid already thinking ahead, where if we get too popular, how many spammers and trolls and stuff we get. So I use my backup, but as real time as real can be for that free secondary number, you're the last on the priority on the cell phone tower. We'll be answering, and by we I mean me, phone calls and texts. So you can ask about what we're talking about. You can gear the conversation a little bit. You can ask about your own ideas of rules of power, what works, what doesn't work, why you think such and such happened. The original goal is still the same goal, and that was before she pissed me off or hurt me or continued to try to play war games. Not to be confused with that sweet, sweet movie. Okay, so the goal is this. I want to be able to discuss relationship dynamics of a very fucking particular order, that helps support the overall goal of studying people. That means psychology, that means the art of speech, that means the art of dress, that means anything that works. It's not about good or evil. I mention all the time, so get those words out of your head that they'll hold you back. It is about what works and what does not. Her coming up with more emotional arguments or trying to ask for demands of me for things to go a certain way. Originally, I wasn't even going to use her name. But I'm allowed to, so if you're going to constantly fucking create problems, I'm going to give you an ultimatum. And I can choose to get all of the perspective and comfort without having to feel anxiety. Do you ever realize what anxiety is like for an autistic person? Your 10 is my 1, and that's normal. All the time. So imagine the effort that I'd have to go through, the mental arithmetic that every time I think of a quality about a person, stuff down the other information about them. It's not easy. But I was going to do my ultimate best. Now I'm not going to make any effort to safeguard that, because why should I? I don't owe you anything. You've made demands from me. That's not the best way to get what you'd like. Hey, if you could please just be understanding towards... Much better. Too bad we didn't go that route. So my goal is to teach psychology. It's to teach power. It's to teach what works. And it's to get rid of ideas like good and evil so that people can be less codependent. Sorry about your codependent butt, lady. And more independent. More loving themselves. More strong. More not having to go in the same circle that led you from alcohol to heroin to fucking Seroquel. Okay? That's what I want to wake people up from. How to literally take control of their emotions and their mind. And others should they choose, but that's not the ultimate goal. It's just kind of a gimmick to be able to get it out there. You will never be hurt again. You will never be used again. You will be prepared like this time. We've already dated twice. I have all of the knowledge I need to know, even if you completely contradict everything I've ever seen, which you did not, pretty much the core components of who you are, how you act, how you talk, what you do, what means what to you, what this color means, what this sound means, etc. I've grown in education. So it wasn't going to work. Your power games did not work on me. The only one that even had slight effect was playing to my fantasies. Pretending that you changed. You give it butter me up. And it was very temporary because you had so many other things completely contradict, busted in so many lies. But yeah, so this won't be defamation. This is all I have to protect my ass from you, is telling the story. Are you going to send every text message to the cops? I doubt it. Or are you just going to make some claim and wait for it to surface when I have all of them printed out in advance for the court? All right. I'm Kevin Chaos, the Autistic Wizard of kevinsportal.com. If you're interested, links will appear at kevinsportal.com/school for evil for everything related there. We're going to try to have it live stream on YouTube, and I'm going to be recording it, ripping my own file immediately, because I can't imagine that this will be very easy to get away with. There's a lot of gray areas for people to not like when I say school for evil instead of self-empowerment, or I say jokes like narcissism TV instead of I believe in myself TV and such, but they're all gimmicks. So a lot of people might be easily and quickly offended, but if I can catch it in time instead of having to redo it, the same copy of episode 1 will be uploaded to BitChute with the not safe for life setting, which means that it won't be removed from there. I mean, you pretty much have to be an overt racist or something. Apart from that, that's where truthers go to put their stuff out there, knowing that their rights aren't being continually controlled by the overlords. So there will be links, but anytime you need links to anything that I'm going through, anytime you want to know what projects I'm on, where they're at, it's at kevinsportal.com. kevinsportal.com, a portal to all things Kevin. We've got Church of Kevin coming up for all your good positivity needs if you need to hear it that way. But for those of you interested in hearing it this way, but much more structured with charts and lesson plans and stuff too, not just diving into personal stories, because the whole point is in a show structure, we would actually dissect and take apart those stories, look at the cause and effect relationships, look at the real intimate dynamics of them. If you're interested in anything I have to do, it's all at kevinsportal.com. Church of Kevin for the positive, light, sunny side people. School for evil for the dark ones. Or self-empowered. You're going to love it. I'm going to love it. We're all going to love it. Peace be with you guys.